Hi, I'm Alex and welcome to Dreams of Green. We're here on our 10-acre property just outside of Kyogle in northern New South Wales, Australia. And after a week of a few really hot days, we've now had a really great downpour overnight. The veggie patch has turned into an absolute jungle. So today I wanted to show you the before photos with it full of weeds, overgrown, and I just want to show you my really easy method for resetting veggie beds, and then show you the after photos or the after shots of the results, and you can see the transformation. So first of all, you can see we use this structure to our advantage. When we get these heat waves, we just roll out this 50% shade cloth across the roof here, and it just really helps moderate those extreme temperatures. We're also starting to grow just some bananas, some mountain pawpaw as well, just to offer a little bit of dappled shade so things aren't baking. Definitely our first season, when these metal beds didn't have any shade, all the soil really baked in the sun, killing all the beautiful microbes. But you can see what the rain does and the heat. Everything just goes crazy. So it'll be great to give this a really good makeover. So first things first, I'm going to start just with this bed, and I'm just going to start harvesting anything that's useful that we can prepare for lunch or dinner later on. So I've just got a metal bowl just for all the salad greens and tomatoes and things like that. And I've just got a bucket to dig up any root crops or anything else that I want to use for later. So one thing that's very useful is the spring onions. So I just bought a bunch at my local markets, making sure they had roots on them. And then I've planted them, and we just keep chopping them back, and they keep re-sprouting. I've had spring onions in the ground for nearly 4 years that still produce. So what I'm going to do to make the process easier, I'm just going to dig them out with all the roots, pop them in the bucket. I'm going to dig out any beetroot, so they're ready to harvest. They can be roasted tonight in dinner. For dinner. I've got a steak knife, and sometimes you can get a rice knife or specialist tools. I tend to use whatever I find either at an op shop or in the kitchen. So I'm just using a steak knife. And with these broccoli heads you can see here, obviously it's summertime. It's no good having broccoli in summertime in this climate. So I just take the steak knife, I saw it off at the base, because what I want to do is I want to leave all of those roots in the ground to break down and feed the soil and create that life in the soil. I'm then just going to put this aside for now, but I'm going to come back and lay all of these, you can see there's a lettuce head there, I'm doing the same. And I'm going to lay all of this back on top of the soil so that it's basically chop and drop for a veggie patch. This is chickweed, which is a great edible and medicinal. You can see that just pops up like a weed, so that's a great one that, again, I've never planted it. It's come up by itself, and we will add that to salads just for extra minerals and vitamins and goodness. These little beetroot here can all be harvested, and all these young shoots here, we will cut those up and use them for salads as well. But all of these, it's time to come out now. We've got more broccoli. And what I did with the flowers, I just left them in the corners so that, if I just scroll this down a bit just so you can see, so the flowers that I planted, I just left them in the corners because I know that these will potentially last a couple of years. So again, it just makes it easier to reset the beds. I can leave the flowers there, but clear out everything else. Okay, so now we have chopped and dropped all of the beds. So I've got all that beautiful organic matter that's going to break down, feed the soil, bring all the worms up. Now what I'm going to do, as I said, because we don't have any chickens, I'm just going to add some aged chicken manure and blood and bone to this mix, just so I've got a nice diverse range of nutrients feeding the vegetables. So I've got my stack of newspapers here ready, and I'll start setting all the beds up just like this one. And now the rain has arrived at the absolute perfect time, so the rain will help wet down all the newspaper, and then it'll be down to the paddock to grab some more mulch. All right, so I've just been down to the paddock. I've raked up some mown lawn clippings here, and now all of the newspaper has had a really good soak. So now I'm just going to get handful by handful, mulch the top of the beds, and that's all the bed prep done. And the purpose of the newspaper as well, obviously we've got all of our weeds and spent vegetables all clipped up underneath, so that's going to help stop all of the new weeds from coming up, as well as insulating the soil and stimulating that worm activity as well. And you can see here we've already got trellises that Dale has built. They're attached to the frame here so they don't fall over. So that'll be good for growing things like beans and cucumbers up. I'll get a big handful for the big raised bed at the end. Oops. So you can see in this bed we still had some spinach that's still fine, so we'll take this shade cloth off here. We're going to prune back this pigeon pea just to let a little bit more sunlight in for the spinach. And because I've kind of kept it in rows, it just makes it a little bit easier with the newspaper as well. Okay, so that was a perfect amount of grass, thankfully. Everything's mulched. We're about to get a storm cell pass over that will once again water everything in, help everything start the breaking down process, start feeding the soil, creating all of that life. And then I'll show you my technique of how I plan to plant the seedlings whilst keeping all of this beautiful mulch and newspaper and everything intact. So now I've had a big downpour, the sun is out again, and we're ready to plant. So first things first, I have collected all of my seedlings to plant. I've got corn, beans, cucumber, some eggplant, some rainbow chard, and I'm just laying them out in the beds where I want to plant them. I've just got this tool, a hori, which I find really, really useful. This point here is really useful now for puncturing through that newspaper that we've laid down. What I've got as well is just a bucket of kind of garden soil, just enriched with some of that organic fertilizer. You can use pure compost as well, and that just helps when I plant each one. I just use a handful of this just to fill that hole that we've created. So what I'm going to do in this bed is I'm going to plant some what I'll do, I'll plant the back first. So we've got some cucumbers here. So I've got, just having a look how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'll just put 4 cucumbers per bed. So I'm just going to make a hole here where I want to puncture the newspaper. I'd say that's about even. Puncture the newspaper just so the roots can get through. Then I just put a nice big handful of this soil. And you can see these probably needed to go in the ground a few weeks ago, but that's okay. I'll just gently separate these. And I'm just making sure I'm getting down, just making sure I'm touching that soil below. And then that handful of compost or soil with the added fertilizer will just hold that in place. Okay, and we are all done. We have our eggplant Slim Jim with some dwarf bush beans. We've got some dwarf French beans here, some more corn, and just some yellow summer squash on the outside there. Here we've got just some mini golden nugget pumpkins with some dwarf butter beans, more corn. I've planted some watermelons up the back here with some spinach, rainbow chard, more sweet corn. We've got some rock melon or cantaloupe on the edges there with cucumber and climbing beans that are able to climb up the trellis there. And we've got honeydew melon and corn and more cucumbers and beans up the back that can climb along the trellis. And what a difference! All the seedlings are in now, the pathways are clear, I can get in, and we'll have a heap more produce on the way. So there you have it, that's my easy method for resetting veggie beds and getting a heap more organic matter into the soil. Be sure to like, share and subscribe if you've enjoyed this, and also check out in the description, I've got a food forest course that I offer. It includes a huge plant pack to be able to get your first food forest plot in the ground as well. So thanks so much for watching. Any questions, shoot me an email, I'd love to hear from you as well, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, bye.